Good morning. It's Wednesday, and I'm doing one of those combined YouTubes today for the two classes. So it's, hold on, I wrote it down, Stuff of Nonsense, lesson 22, or is it? Yeah, 22. No, lesson 23. Sorry, I'm never good with numbers. Lesson 23 for nonsense and lesson 18 for writing for children. Okay, so I'm doing research for this nonfiction book that I'm working on, and today I'm really excited about this topic that I've been studying, and I thought I'm going to change things up because this is sort of a kind of thing that if it was a class, I'd be like, hey, I read something cool, I want to tell you about it. So it's not directly connected to the courses, but in a way it is. And I'll tell you why I think so at the end. Okay, so I've been reading about something called luck readiness. Maybe you learned about it in other courses already, but if you have, it's a sort of a review. And if you haven't, like I hadn't until, let's say, last week, I find it super cool, okay? And interesting, and I think it will influence you. And actually, I'll tell you, I think it might influence you in helping you find your final projects for both classes. So for writing for children, it's coming up with a chapter in the YA book and what's your subject going to be, how are you going to do it, where are you going to get your inspiration. And for the nonsense class, it's also where are you going to get your idea, where's the inspiration, how are you going to do a great job. Okay, so according to this theory, you have to be ready for luck to strike, okay? But how does that work? Does it mean you just stand around? No, you have to cultivate habits. So this comes from two researchers, Pryor, which is spelled Pryor, and Bright, Bright. Jim Bright. I have to look up who Pryor was. Anyway, so it dates back to like one study I found is 2005. So Pryor and Bright identified 8 dimensions, and I'm going to go through all 8 with you. It won't take very long. It's like a sentence on each one that I wrote down as notes. But I think that you'll find it interesting, and it actually during the pandemic, there's things that we can think about too, certain traits. Okay, so one trait is flexibility. So what they're saying is, it's not just a question of like, okay, luck, I'm waiting for luck to strike. You have to have these dimensions or develop them in yourselves. Flexibility, and they say it means, how to define flexibility, to be prepared for change. And then for the kids that are reading Alice, we know that's one of the themes, in the book, which is change is happening all the time. And even for the YA kids, right, students, your characters are going to be changing because that is what it is to be a young adult. Frankly, it's what it is to be an older adult too. Next one, optimism. So we know the optimism means being cheerful, right? But it's beyond that. How they define it is to keep trying even in a bad situation. And that's a good one during the pandemic because you could go like, I don't know, today I was out for my run. I'm like, what's the summer going to be like? How are we ever going to have parties again with our friends sitting on a balcony? So you can go into that, but you could say, look, it's a bad situation, but we're going to keep trying. We're going to keep doing the right thing. So that's an example. Risk. At the end, I'll review all 8 for you, okay? Risk is the third one, and that is defined as confidence in making a decision in response to change. So there is a change, but you can still make a decision in response to it. That's their definition of risk. It doesn't mean you have to go do risky things, like get too close to people who you might give the virus to. Okay, curiosity. That's all in Alice, right? Curiouser. And I think we've already talked about it. But curiosity is defined here as seeking new knowledge and experience. So as students, to be curious, I think I've talked to you about that from the beginning of the semester, but also new experiences. And at the end, I'll tell you why I'm thinking about all this in my life, because something happened to me yesterday, story-wise, that really tied this together. Okay, persistence. This might be the key one during the pandemic. Defined as able to endure boredom, frustration, and disappointment. So let's say there's a summer where we can't hang out with our friends on balconies. We will have to persist. We'll have to deal with a bit of frustration over that. And of course, there could be way worse things that we may have to persist in the face of real difficulties. But to be persistent is huge. Okay. strategies, which they define as seeking opportunities. So you can't just sit there. Let's say, okay, I'm a writer. Am I just like sitting around going, anyone going to call me up? No, I have to go like, I got an idea for this story, which is what happened to me yesterday. I should seek my opportunities, as in call my agent and see what she thinks. Okay. Efficacy, which is to seek control of our own lives. And that's an attitude also that we are in French efficace. We can do it, right? So believing that's important. And the very last one is luckiness, which is to expect or believe that luck can happen. Okay? So in other words, all the other things, the luck itself isn't that important. It's all these other traits that are important. So first I'm going to review all the traits for you. And I'm going to tell you a quick story of something lucky that happened to me yesterday. But I think because I possess some of these qualities or have developed them, hopefully. Okay. Flexibility, number 1, in no order of importance. Optimism, 2. 3, risk. 4, curiosity. 5, persistence. 6, strategy. 7, efficacy. And 8, luckiness. So you might want to write them down, or you could just Google luck readiness. I found that's how I did my research. And there's something called the luck readiness index. So you could read about that as well. Okay, so just my quick story. I did an interview for this nonfiction project that I'm working on. And I interviewed, I don't want to say too much about it, especially because this YouTube could be public. I don't want to give away my inspiration and idea. I did an interview with a guy, he happens to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And he told me a story about his work life that touched me so deeply. And he doesn't have a fancy job, but what he told me was that what he loved most about his job was hearing people's stories. And he didn't, like I said, it wasn't a fancy job. So he helped me for the book that I'm working on, the nonfiction book. I went back to it afterwards and started writing up, I added the section on him. Lovely. And then I realized, I think there's another book in here. There's a book about this guy's kind of life that this guy led. Because I write books for kids, I start to imagine, okay, what if I tell it from a grandchild's point of view? I did all the things I've told you guys about. I woke up this morning thinking about it. It's starting to take shape in my head. Wait, look, I keep notes. Here's my little thing of notes, right? I wrote notes. I got up this morning. I added a note to it. And now I'm going to have to do like the hard work part, which is start working on it. So I feel like I was lucky that this guy kind of turned up in my life. And how did I find it? I read an article from the Tulsa newspaper about him. It was an article, I think, from 2016, which I had just found by Googling subjects. And then I got in touch with the reporter who wrote the article, found the reporter on Facebook. The reporter very nicely gave me the guy's number. So you could say, look, I was lucky. The guy answered the telephone, right? But I think that I had some of the other things going for me too, right? And then it just happened that I recognized, hey, I think there's a story here. So all of this to tell you, hey, it's really long, 8 minutes, 25 seconds. We're lucky. Be open to luck and cultivate those other traits as well. Okay, one more time. I'm going over them for you guys. Be flexible. Be optimistic. Be prepared for risk, although don't do anything dangerous because I don't want you to blame it on your teacher. Be curious, be persistent, have strategy, believe that you are efficace, so have efficacy. And finally, all of this together is to be luck ready. Okay, so go out there or stay inside and be lucky. And I'll be back tomorrow with 2 separate lessons. And tomorrow I'll talk about the final projects. Okay, I figured that's a good Friday Thursday, which is kind of Friday because I don't do the YouTubes on Friday. Bye.